Welcome back, Sparklers, to another exciting episode of Ignite Your Spark. Well, I think they're all exciting, and I hope you do too, because I'm here to bring you inspiration for you, especially if you're a woman in midlife and beyond, because that's my new focus is interviewing women in that position and reaching those of you who need a little inspiration and spark ignition, perhaps at this time. And today, my guest is Sue Willoughby. And I'm really excited to speak with her because in over 150 episodes, I have not spoken to anyone who does what Sue does. And she is an Equus coach. Did I say that right, Sue?
Yes, you did. You did. Very good.
And we all know what equine means, horses, and Equus. And I'm excited because I've been with a horse in a way like that in a situation with a group of us, just sort of communing. It wasn't real coaching because it was just an introduction. And I loved it because I think animals are special. And I know Sue does too. And we'll get into how Sue got into that. Instead of me reading her info, I'd rather you hear it from her. Welcome, Sue, to Ignite Your Spark.
Kim, thank you so much for the intro and all of your sparky energy. It's very contagious, so to speak.
Good. Well, that's my goal, is to shine my spark, shine my light to encourage others to do the same. Because when you walk into a room, you raise the vibration if your vibration is high, or you lower the vibration if your vibration is low. So frankly, I'd rather be around high vibe people. So
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, yeah, I totally agree with that. 100%.
All right. Before we get into the horses, I need to know, and I probably have an inkling of what the answer is, but how do you ignite your spark?
How long do we have? There are so many ways that I ignite my spark. One is I love to make people laugh. Ever since I was a kid, I've always relied on my sense of humor to kind of get me through those rough spots. And my real spark, as you probably already know, comes from my animals, my two little miniature long-haired dachshunds and my horse, Moose, and all of the other amazing, amazing equine coaches that I work with.
Yeah, I figured it had something to do with animals because you are, I can tell, so connected deeply to the animal spirit of your little pups and of horses as well. Thank you for that. And also imagine, when you're with Moose or with any of the other horses in the facility where you also spend time, you are out in nature. So you are outside breathing in the fresh air. And I just think that's vital to igniting sparks.
It is connecting with nature, whether it be through animals or just taking a hike in the woods or whatever it is. It really does nurture and fill your spirit in a way that nothing else can.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that you found this path. This path found you, because you did not have an easy upbringing. I mean, or you suffered a lot from what I read. Why don't you tell us how you got into Equus coaching?
Well, thank you, Kim. That's a good question. And yeah, I did have a number of challenges growing up. My mom was an alcoholic. My parents stayed together for the good of the child until I was about 11, I guess. And yeah, that was not for the good of me, trust me. But I chose to go live with my mom, and that was challenging. And I grew up very quickly. And horses were always steady for me. When I was young, I would make her drive me to the barn in 3 feet of snow. I grew up in upstate New York, and I would just spend the whole day there and sometimes overnight. And I would just, hang out in the hay or watch them eat or ride or do whatever it was, just to be close to them, because it felt good to me. It felt safe. It was something that I could relate to. And like I said, it was my happy place. Fast forward to summers when I was a little bit older, in my late teens, and I found a summer camp that did, well, it was therapeutic riding, but at the time I didn't even know what that was. So I would just take off every summer and go to a camp for individuals with special needs. And work in the horse program. And it was so fun and so rewarding. And we would be out there with the flies and the poop and the, everything that was there, working with the individuals, riding horses, leading them, teaching them horsemanship skills. And it was an incredible experience. Not one that my mother was particularly fond of. I should have been having a real job. And then, there's just been a thread of horses throughout my life, and coaching sort of stemmed from, I also became a equine massage therapist. So I learned a little bit different way of working with the horses and holding space just for them in a healing fashion. And then that sort of led me to an adventure of seeking out how I could work with people and horses in a healing capacity. And along came Equus Coaching.
Well, okay. Yeah. You make that sound very smooth transition, but did you have another job before you?
Oh, I had plenty of jobs.
So what did you like? Did you go to college?
Funny you should ask that. I did not go to secondary, education level until I was in my probably mid 30s. I was too much of a wild child when I was younger. I was more concerned with drinking and partying and hanging out and doing all kinds of things that were not great for me. Clearly not mature enough to go to college. School was really never my friend when I was younger, because I was bored. I think I don't know how to put this. I felt bored. I felt like I was
smart for school. I know.
Yeah, too smart for school. So I quit high school twice. Not just once, but twice. You got to make sure you're doing it right. So you do it twice. And then I went back to school in my mid 30s, and I had worked at mostly in retail, and I absolutely hated retail. It was just not my forte. I didn't want to do it, but it was what I could do with my education and what I felt like I could do. So when I went back to school, I learned all about the internets. Right. And that was just kind of a new thing up and coming in the mid 90s, and also video production and audio production. So I'm kind of a geek that way. But it really resonated with me, and it launched me on probably a 30-year, well, maybe not that long. Yeah, about 30-year career in corporate training.
Oh, okay. Well, I think it's interesting because a lot of the people that I've interviewed are coaches, as because that's all about self-development. We all do that. And a lot of people had their beginning in some sort of either human resources or psychology or counseling, and then get into coaching. It's no surprise that you were doing training videos in that time. That's what I meant. What did you do prior to? I didn't mean personal about did you go to college, but I just
that's okay. I'm not ashamed.
about it. Well, one of the other things I don't want to forget to talk about is how you step outside of your comfort zone, because I'm a big believer in do something every day that scares you. I don't, but I'm a believer in it, if I could, really, because it enhances and enriches your life. So we'll talk about some of those other positions that you have held. I love it. I'm big on improv too, by the way.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. But I think people who don't know want to know, what is Equus Coaching? So tell us about that.
Yeah, that is an excellent question. People ask me that question all the time. Like, well, what do you do? Do you coach the horses? And, that's. So what happens is I work with clients who would go to a talk coach, and they come to me, or else I hold retreats, probably something similar to what you have attended, where we have, sometimes I partner with another coach depending on how many attendees there are. But the client is actually in an open round pen or a small arena, or sometimes a large arena with obstacles, which is always fun. And they are interacting with the horse. Now, I give them a safety demo, and then I give them some instructions on how to physically move the horse, should they so choose. And then I sort of turn them loose. The horse is at liberty, meaning that it does not have a halter or a lead rope on. The horse is free to move about and be a horse. So while the person is in the pen with the horse, I'm watching both of them, and I usually have someone set an intention for what they want to do in this particular session. And then we work from there, and I watch the horse, I watch them. When I get feedback from the horse, it gives me an opportunity to ask them some really fantastic open-ended questions that I wouldn't be getting that feedback necessarily if it were directly from them or we were on a Zoom call or whatever. The horses don't lie. They don't judge. They can sense our internal biorhythms, our breathing, our heart rate, our whatever. So they can really sense when someone's being incongruent and their outsides don't meet their insides. And as you know, we all go through life with a certain persona and a certain way that we want to be viewed. And horses just can see right through that. They also act as a mirror, and they will give you the feedback that they're getting from you. So they'll put it right back on you.
Okay. Do you connect with the spirit of the horse? I mean, are you basically kind of like intuiting what they are saying? Because how else would you know?
Yes, and from being around horses, you learn to read their body language. They're very expressive, and they're also very expressive in the most subtle manner. Their ears operate independently of each other. Their vision is, almost 360 degrees, and they have certain body language that they will display when, because they're prey animals, and that's the bottom line. They're constantly assessing and reading, and, they have amazing awareness. So yes, it is intuition, and it's also behavioral, watching their behavior, and how they react with a person. And if the person's saying something in particular or acting a certain way, the horse is going to respond accordingly. And you can use the same horse for like 3 different people, and it will give them exactly what they need, each person in a different way. It's amazing.
It's really hard to visualize without being there. And I have to say, my experience was not at all like this. It wasn't well done. And I think this person was either new to I think it was called equine therapy, her specific, not Equus coaching, but equine therapy. And there were a group of us, and we each got to go into the ring or the pen with the horse, but there was something that wasn't right. I'm not afraid of the horses, and I wanted to be in there so badly, but I felt rushed, and I don't know, there was something about it. And I wish I had experienced what you do. I wish I could have before speaking with you, because then I would understand a little bit more. I don't recall this facilitator actually giving me any feedback or giving me anything.
Interesting.
Are you with one? I know you have like group things, because I saw you have one coming up, but are you with one person for an entire hour in the pen with the horse?
Yes. So if someone has a one-on-one session with me, we usually do, it depends on their level of comfort. So sometimes we just may start with some grooming exercises or something sort of slow, and then we'll ease into the round pen or the arena or whatever. And I'm with them for, sessions can go anywhere from, 30 minutes to an hour, hour and a half sometimes. And that's kind of a lot for the horse and for the person. But typically around an hour is a good, you can get so much done in an hour, as opposed to, a talk coaching session that, like 3 weeks later, you're still on the same topic. But
Yeah. Now, do people come to you for, let's see, for various issues, or is it issues that are, like always the same, or is it anything?
Honestly, Kim, it can be anything. It can be, now if I sense that someone has had trauma, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a trauma, and they have never had, like, if something comes up that they have not dealt with, then I will, refer them out. But typically it is maybe something that they're working on in therapy and they just can't get over a hump, right? Or they're going through some changes in their lives, or they've lost someone or something. So could be grief. And sometimes people just want to be in the space with the horse and not do anything, not say anything. And the horse may come over and just be close to the person, and it just melts away all of the stuff that they've been holding on to. And it's just very, very freeing.
Mm. So, Sue, it's interesting. How often do people come to you? Do they need more than one session, or how many sessions does it require to sort of get what they need? Or I'm sure it's different with everyone, but basically you said it is a little bit faster than traditional talk coaching.
Yeah, it's a great question. Sometimes people will come and they can do like a block or a series, and it may take them. It depends on what they're working on, really, and what other support they're getting. If they're, seeing some sort of therapist, and they really just need a little fine tuning. And some people will just come once and have like an amazing experience and be like, okay, great, I'm good. And then you may hear from them 6 months or a year later and be like, yeah, I need another tune up.
Yeah.
So it really does depend on the person. But in the course of one session, it's amazing to see the shift.
Is
in
it?
one session? Yeah.
What can you expect when you go into the arena with a horse? Now, you said you may start with some grooming exercises. Then you're in there with them, but is the person approaching the horse on their own?
Yes. And I am typically not in the round pen because I don't want to be a distraction. I stand on the outside so that I can see both the horse and the person, and I let them move about freely. Now, if someone has something that they want to do specifically, like get the horse to move and they can't seem to get the horse unstuck, so to speak,
Mm.
I can go in and do an exercise, which I call arm in arm. So they will loop their arm like through my arm, and I will work the horse, and they can feel the energy that I'm putting out to the horse through me, so that they can then say, okay, that's the feel that I'm looking for, or that's the piece that I was missing. But for the most part, they are in there with the horse alone. No one, and like I said, I do a safety demo so that they know, if the horse gets excited, which sometimes they do, it might be the energy that the person's putting out. If the person has really huge energy, the horse may be like, whoa, and they may get running around the outside. So I tell people, don't stay on the edge because we don't want to get you pinned against the wall. Stay in the center. Let the horse just be. Let the horse settle down. Let the horse do what they want to do and do what they need to do, because that's what they do. They take care of themselves. So, long answer to your question, they're in there by themselves, moving the horse around with their energy and their intention. They can take a long line in with them, which they can keep as in loops. There's some photos on my website that they can use to, extend their energy or make their energy bigger to get the horse to move.
Yeah, it's hard to understand this. It really is, unless you are in the ring with a horse, because I'm sitting here imagining myself for an hour, like, well, what do I do? I do have big energy, so I would worry about that, but I can also bring it back. And I guess, do you talk to the person? I'm just trying to give listeners, people who cannot experience this for one reason or another. Obviously, this is not something you can do on Zoom. So you need to be physically with the horse. And I know that you have a retreat coming up in Paso Robles. It's probably already filled up, but you do these retreats where people can come to your space or to the space where you work out of and experience it. But I'm trying to give people if we can. So I walk into a ring and I'm there with this horse. Am I asking questions silently? Are you asking me questions? Am I just communicating with the horse?
So let's say, for example, you come to me for a session.
Okay.
So, okay, Kim, what would the intention be something that you need support with today? Or what would the intention be that you would like to get out of this session?
Oh, me? I know. I could use a little more
Make something up.
clarity in my life.
All right, we'll work with that. Clarity. So that's the intention that you set for this session. I would probably ask you, what does clarity look like? Maybe you don't know. Maybe you don't have enough clarity to answer that question. So then I would just ask you to freely go in and interact with the horse in a way that feels authentic to you. So you may try to approach the horse. You may try to move the horse in some way using your energy. I find that a lot of people just want to go up and snuggle. So there's a proper way to approach the horse. And then when you are actually interacting with the horse, I'm watching their behavior and I'm watching you to see what feedback the horse is giving you that you're probably unaware of, that I can read. And I can then go to you and say, so Kim, I noticed that the horse is really in your space. Maybe he's nibbling at your shoulder or he's doing something like that. And you're just, sort of brushing him off a little bit and saying, oh, that's okay. I don't mind it. Okay. And so then I'll just let that sit for a minute. And then I notice that it's getting a little more intense and a little more intense. And I'll come back to you and I'll say, so what are you getting from the horse? So I will ask you questions about what are you taking, what is your interpretation of what the horse is doing? It's really interesting to see people's reactions. They're in the round pen and they may want immediately to have the horse approach them. And if the horse doesn't immediately come up to them, there's a reason for that. But the person may say, oh, the horse hates me. The horse is bored. He doesn't like me. He's standing way over there. He can't stand me, blah, 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 and you're like, oh, well, that's interesting. Are there any other times in your life when you feel that? Oh, all the time. People don't like me. People stay away from me. I'm like, oh, okay. So it really does, there's a dialogue, but I'm not constantly talking to the person. I want them to, it's very experiential. I want them to be in the moment and be in the presence of the horse.
Got it.
Because it really does. Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, but you are speaking with them and you are guiding them in that regards. Okay.
Absolutely.
I get it now. I just wanted to clarify that. It just sounds so powerful. I love animals. I want to just hug. That's when you said cuddle that I'm like, I just want to cuddle up to their flank and rub them.
Well, and that, it's like I said, sometimes people will just, they have so much emotion and the horse can sense that. And the thing is, if the person is in touch with that emotion and is willing to sit with it and be with it, the horse will be happy to share that emotion with the person.
So beautiful. Did you create this own kind of coaching or is there an actual program called Equus Coaching?
Yes, there is. It used to be the Coel Institute, started by Coel. I'm forgetting her name now. That's terrible.
Is that the one?
She is, yes. Coel Simpson. That's it. Yes, Coel Simpson. And she has since moved away from that and is dealing and is doing more trauma coaching and so forth. But it is called Equus Center for Equus Coaching, I believe, is the current name of it. And there are different levels of programs. There's the initial coaching program, and then there's the master facilitator program, which I've also gone through so that you can, have groups. There's a lot going on when you've got 12 people, 10 horses, and
yeah,
2 arenas going. It's more like event planning at that point.
Right. Takes away some of what you love to do, I imagine. But you also tell us how you work with people. Now, I know those people listening in England are not going to be able to come to your facility right easily, but you work with groups. I saw that you also can do like reunions or corporate groups? I mean, if you wanted to get a family together, I mean, do people do that? Kind of get a family reunion kind of thing and go? No.
Yes. Yes. I can also do custom group events. So let's say, you have a woman's group or something that you're working with, and part of it, let's say you're doing a retreat, and maybe 2 days of the retreat you want to do horses. So I can, create custom retreats. I've also, we were having this conversation before, but I also wanted to be able to bring this to the people that cannot be with me one-on-one. So I am in the process of developing online programs that incorporate all the wisdom of the horses, and I can, bring it to people. And some of my programs will actually incorporate, as part of the program, a retreat in the program. So you can, when you get in there with the horses, you can really hit the ground running, so to speak.
Or hit the ground
Yeah,
galloping.
you can do that too. Yeah.
Oh, it just sounds so exciting. I really love this idea, and I love bringing it to people. And in addition, tell us about some of those other things that you have done. This is so awesome. All of the things that I see written down here, getting out of your comfort zone. I can tell you, but if you want to tell people.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I'm focusing on right now is, women of a certain age being able to make that transition from whatever it is, caring for people all their lives, or leaving wanting to leave their corporate job and getting out of their comfort. I call it the comfort bunker, because it really can get pretty ensconced, and trying new things. And the way I grew up with my alcoholic mom, and just always sort of having to take care of myself, my comfort zone was discomfort. So I was never afraid to do pretty much anything. When I came out, I figured, well, the best way I'm going to meet people is to, be a bartender. So I was a bartender and a DJ in the local, gay clubs in Connecticut. And then, there were, trust me. And it worked. I would just, and then let's see, what other, oh yes, roller derby. I was a referee for roller derby. Because a private pilot. Yes. Someone gave me for my birthday one year a flying lesson. So I was like, okay, that's great. Now I want to get my pilot's license. Okay. Well, I got my pilot's license. And then I'm like, well, I don't want to rent a plane. So I bought a plane. I get in something and I just kind of like dive deep into these weird little subcultures. Being a bartender, I've also worked in strip clubs, not the way you think, but I was a bartender and a DJ, and that was a whole nother realm. I've done some stand-up comedy. I was, thought I wanted to be an actor at one point. Let's see what else. In addition to flying, I've also jumped out of an airplane, and that was sort of my transition out of corporate America into real estate and being an entrepreneur. And you name it.
Literally jumped into
literally jumped into it.
I just like sharing that with everybody, because my message is, you are never too old. You are never too old to learn a new skill. You are never too old. Now, I'm not going to jump out of a plane at this point. However, someone else might want to, and that's great. And someone might be afraid of horses, and this might be the perfect opportunity to get them out of their comfort zone.
Exactly.
With an animal that can speak to them. I love it. Well, Sue, you are a remarkable person, and I am so glad we had this time together. I just love what you're doing. I really do. And hopefully someday I'll be able to get up there and get in that ring.
Oh. Or maybe I can come to you and we can, do a retreat together. That would be super fun.
Would be super fun. I would love that. Right now, all I can visualize is a horse. I just want to be by a horse. Oh, maybe that's my spirit animal of the day.
There you go. There you go.
Because I'm always finding new ones. So where can people find you?
You can find me at willoughbycoaching.com, and it's WILLOUGHBY Coaching, COACHING.com. And if you are so inclined, I am offering a free gift to, it's a 30-day workbook of getting out of your comfort zone.
Oh, I
and
love
leveling up
that.
your life.
And do we get that through your website, or is there a specific link I should be sending to people?
I can give you a specific link, and it's also on the website. When there's a pop-up that will come up, and if you sign in, and we'll send you that workbook. It's fun. It makes getting out of your comfort zone approachable, and yeah.
Oh, good. I want to read what you have to say, because it's my goal to do that, and sometimes I do, but sometimes my comfort zone's kind of big, so
Right, exactly.
I'll try different things, but I don't want to do anything that's going to potentially harm my body. That's kind of why I won't jump out of an airplane, because I had a hip replacement. I don't want to land funky.
And don't take up polo, because I did that last summer.
It's not on my list.
I fell off. I got a little too aggressive. I fell off and shattered my wrist. So
yeah.
And it's better now.
Out for a while. So forget that. Well, Sue, thank you for sharing your inspiration, your light, your humor, all of it, your Equus coaching. Thank you for sharing that with me and my listeners.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. It has been an extreme pleasure, and I feel sparkier already.
Oh, me too. I just want to be your friend and go have some tea right now.
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you so much, Sue. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in and listening yet again to another inspirational episode of Ignite Your Spark. I had a blast. I can't wait to go snuggle a horse. And I hope that if your spark has been ignited, you will share this episode with others so that we can really ignite the light within all of us who are perhaps in midlife and beyond. Yeah, I'm beyond. Ignite those sparks, friends, and I'll see you next time.